Good morning, everyone. This is Sohail Iqbal. I'm one of the EducationUSA advisors. I'm joining from the American Center at the US Embassy in Dhaka. I welcome you to today's webinar. Our webinar for today is specifically for US HEIs, US higher education institutions. The title, as you know, the Accessing Undergraduate Market in Bangladesh. Unfortunately, we will miss one of our panel members, but we are joined by one of the US HEI panel member, and we'll try to cover. So if you have any question, please feel free to unmute or use the chat box. I'm really glad that we are also joined by our regional EducationUSA coordinator, REACT, Luis Cardenas, who's also very resourceful. So first, before I give a quick overview on EducationUSA and what we are going to discuss today, let me introduce our panel members. Khadija Mahmood, I'm joined by her, and she's a great supporter of EducationUSA at the US Embassy in Dhaka. She is overseeing EducationUSA programs with other educational exchange programs at the embassy. So we are fortunate to have her with us this morning. We have also Nusrat Sharmin. She's a counselor from the Aga Khan School in Dhaka, and she worked in the counselor capacity with other high schools in Bangladesh. We also have David Dye, who's a US university representative, and he will share his perspective of his experience of working and recruiting in Bangladesh. So without further ado, let me hand over to Khadija Appa for her remarks and introduction. I am really excited that you all showed your interest. You also gave some feedback, like what you want, or what is the expectation from today's webinar. So I just want to mention that we will cover areas like Bangladesh educational landscape and what is the current higher education scenario, what are the opportunities in Bangladesh. There were some comments that you also want to know about Bangladeshi documents, transcripts, and educational certificates. We will try to cover that, or in the question answer session, we can also elaborate on that. Many of you have shown interest to kind of have a perspective how to strategize for future, when to come to Bangladesh, what are the kind of travel, school visits, and fairs you can engage in, and so that you can plan for your 2022 and 23 recruitment cycle. And also, there were questions about higher education partnerships, opportunities, what are the roadblocks or the challenges Bangladeshi students and families face. So we want to cover that, and of course there are some questions on visa, an appointment system and everything. So of course there are very few areas where our panel member Khadija Mahmood from the embassy, she can cover things which are more school related. Nusrat Sharmin, she will cover if there is something as an experience, David will cover. So that is all from me. I'll let Khadija Appa to start first. Over to you, Khadija Appa.
Thank you so much, Iqbal Bhai. Good evening and good morning to everyone. I know that we're all joining from different time zones. So thank you so much for being so flexible, excuse me, and for being with us today. For those of us who are joining from the US Embassy and EducationUSA Bangladesh, a big warm welcome, Shagatom in Bangla, to all of you for taking part in this discussion today. We're so excited to have this opportunity to engage with all of you who represent different institutions in the United States. I also want to echo Iqbal Bhai in giving a huge thank you and shout out to our REAC, Luis Cardenas, for supporting us and facilitating this opportunity for us here at the embassy and for Bangladesh. So my name is Khadija Mahmood. I serve as the Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer here at the U.S. Embassy in Dhaka, Bangladesh. And we are very unique in that our Education USA Bangladesh team is actually housed within the U.S. Embassy. So I have the honor and privilege of working directly with our amazing team here in Bangladesh. What that means is that I have a perspective that's quite unique. I work directly with the team and also support the team in not just promoting U.S. higher education, but also getting to understand the incredible youth of this country, right? And also getting to promote other U.S. government funded exchange programs, many of which I'm sure that you're familiar with as well. For those of us here at the embassy, we are really keen on expanding the undergraduate market here in Bangladesh. And I don't want to bore you with these statistics. You may already be familiar, but I was asked today to give a little bit more context into the market here in Bangladesh. Many of you may know, and I think we always say for us at the embassy that history matters, right? In terms of understanding the context and where we are today. Many of you may be familiar with the fact that in 2016, there was this horrific terrorist attack that took place, the Holy Bakery terrorist attack. And that terrorist attack, till this day, we've still been dealing with the ramifications of it. What do I mean by the ramifications? I mean that there have been heightened security restrictions and measures that have been put in place to protect foreigners, such as US citizens in Bangladesh. Things have gotten much better in terms of the security environment. But unfortunately, what's happened is that for those of us at the embassy, for example, we haven't been doing the traditional outreach that we've been doing prior to that incident. Things have changed drastically, and actually the situation is very much so improved. I'm happy to even share that I've had a chance to myself to even leave Dhaka and travel to different parts of the country to see and engage with students and other members that we try to engage with in our work. And so what that means is that we're really moving in the right direction. Unfortunately, during that time period where there were heightened security measures, other countries have really taken in that opportunity to sort of predominate the study abroad higher education market. By those countries, I'm sure many of you are familiar with them, but for us, we're watching closely, the number of students who are going to the United Kingdom, for example, Canada, Australia, Malaysia, China, some countries that are neighboring countries in the region, but then some countries that are also located in the West. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because for the US Embassy, we are particularly interested in expanding, our market here in Bangladesh. And what that requires is that we work very closely with all of you to facilitate the process for you to travel to Bangladesh, to do outreach, engage with students. We're very proud, our team is very proud of their hard work and the fact that even during COVID, the percentage of students who are studying in the United States from Bangladesh has really not gone down that much. We're actually considered one of the fastest growing countries in sending students to the United States for their higher education. Our market is predominantly skewed towards the graduate market. Many of you may know that Bangladeshi students, a lot of them are coming with very strong STEM backgrounds. So a lot of them are actually interested in going to the US for their master's or PhD programs. But what we're really trying to do is encourage more students, especially younger students at the grade 9, grade 10 level, to seriously think about going to the United States. There are some institutional dynamics, and I think many of you are familiar, for example, with the colonial legacy, where a lot of students are already inclined towards going to the United Kingdom because of the special Commonwealth scholarships and because of the fact that they're familiar with the O-level, A-level system. But what we're really trying to do at the embassy and with our Education USA team is really push for, the idea that the US system is not as scary and as intimidating as many think it is. America still remains, I would argue, the most popular study abroad destination among Bangladeshis, but there's so much more work that we can be doing to really expand the market. And that is why we're so excited to have this opportunity to engage with you. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm. The fact that you all are joining from different time zones, from different states in the United States, it shows us that, you really care and that you really see the important impact really expanding your market has for your school and including Bangladesh in your outreach. For us, we always argue that when we're looking at the South Asia region, a lot of times attention is given more so to India and Pakistan and neighboring countries. But we would argue that Bangladeshi students are really some of the most talented and bright students who really have a profound impact once they get to go to their US college campus. We've seen many of our students succeed, go on to do different exchange programs, for example. We've seen many come back to be, activists, change makers, innovators, scientists, researchers, and many of them are actually very keen on expanding partnership between Bangladeshi universities and US universities. The reason why I'm saying that is because for us, we always say in our work as the US Embassy and the US government, we're always thinking about mutual, right, two-way exchanges, right? We definitely want to increase the number of Bangladeshi students and young scholars and researchers in the United States, but we also do want to create opportunities for US college universities to also expand and engage in research collaboration and all these other opportunities in Bangladesh. In May, we're actually very excited to share that we're actually welcoming back our first Fulbright specialist in over, I would say, 6 years to Bangladesh. And so what that means is that we are absolutely moving in the right direction. We look forward to hosting more US scholars and experts in the coming weeks and months. We've actually recently hosted 2 different US higher education representatives at our center here in Bangladesh at the US Embassy. So essentially what that means is that we are moving in the right direction. And we look forward to hosting all of you. So if many of you are thinking of coming to Bangladesh, I would argue now is the time. And we are eager to welcome you and receive you. The embassy is happy to support in whatever capacity you need to support, whether it's sending you an invitation letter, inviting you, having you actually come to the embassy premises as well to speak with students, advising you on which schools would be best for you to target. We're also planning on organizing our own, hopefully, in-person fair this year. So we would love for many of you to participate and take part in those activities. So I just say that to really just emphasize that the door is open and we're here to help you every step of the way. Our team is familiar with, the different regions of Bangladesh. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but there are, several major divisions in this country. So Dhaka is the capital where we do have many fantastic schools. We do have students who are studying at really great institutions in areas such as Chattogram, in areas such as Sylhet, Rajshahi, Khulna. So we do have 4 EducationUSA advising centers in country. 2 of them are based here in Dhaka in the capital, but we also have one at the American corner in Chittagong, which is also known as Chattogram, and also the American corner in Khulna. So I say that because we do have opportunities for you to do domestic travel. I would argue that actually domestic travel in Bangladesh is quite easy. I've done it myself. A group of my colleagues and I recently went to northern Bangladesh, Rangpur, where there's also a great market there that we could really tap into in terms of recruiting strong students. So it is really easy to do domestic travel here. You can easily take a quick flight in the morning from Dhaka to another division and then come back. So we're always happy to help. And we really do want to encourage you to not only think about coming to Bangladesh, but also realize that there's so much diversity here among student applicants. And there's great parts of the country that you can also visit as well. One last thing that I did want to note is giving you a little bit of an update on how COVID-19 has impacted the education system here in Bangladesh. So as you may know, around the world, following the global outbreak in March 2020, many institutions across the world quickly closed, right, due to the COVID pandemic. That was the case as well for Bangladesh. Bangladesh was actually one of the countries that had the longest closure of schools. A lot of that has to do with institutional challenges. So schools not having the capacity to open their doors for students again. Also, many institutions struggled with having to quickly pivot to virtual instruction. And so right now, even, for students, typically right now, students would be on Ramadan leave, but actually many schools are in catch-up mode. So students are still, taking classes and things like that. So the reason why I say that is because COVID has had a really, negative impact in terms of the learning and situation here. And so many students are actually a bit behind in terms of when they were slated to graduate or complete their programs, whether it was, their high school diploma here, which we call the HSC, or we're talking about, their undergraduate studies, if they're thinking about doing their graduate studies in the US. So the reason why I say that is because here at the embassy, we have, colleagues that look very closely at the education sector and seeing what the challenges are. And so we are always happy to give whatever expertise you need, right, in terms of understanding the market. We also know that many USATIs, for example, may not have an understanding of the Bangladeshi education system. So for example, you might notice that some students are following the national curriculum, right? And some students are not. They're following the British curriculum, right? Whether they're O-level or A-level students. So I just say all of that because, as the embassy, we're happy to help you, better understand the education system here in Bangladesh. We do have amazing school counselors like Nusrat, who's here today representing the Aga Khan School. She's one of our very close school counselor contacts here in Bangladesh. We actually do not have many trained school counselors here in Bangladesh, but we do have extraordinary teachers that go the extra mile to help their students who do want to study in the United States. So I really hope that you find this session helpful. I hope that this is the first of many to come. I really want to thank also Sanam for helping us organize this seminar today. We really do want to expand the US market, and we really want to give you all a fair chance to really do the good work and get your school out there, and for students to really know more about your institutions. So with that, I want to thank all of you again for being here today. I look forward to seeing some of you in person and welcoming you to the US Embassy, hopefully in the coming months. And I really hope that you find today's seminar informative and insightful. Thank you. Over to you, Iqbal. Bye.
Thank you so much, Khadija Mahmood, Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer of the US Embassy in Dhaka. So, David, if you can quickly stop the screen, we'll definitely come. Sorry.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So if there is any question for Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer Khadija Mahmood, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any of our HEI colleague. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question. Khadija, we want to take some screenshots and photos. So if you can come back with your video, that will be wonderful. In the meantime, let me quickly introduce with their bios. I'm sure we have shared all the details, but let me take this opportunity to introduce David Dye, who's an international recruitment specialist at the University of California, Riverside. David joined UCR in 2008 as the international recruitment specialist. In this current role, David works closely with campus stakeholders on centralized recruitment effort for both undergraduate and graduate programs, and as well as short-term international programs. As part of his work, David helped identify potential market for international student recruitment, develop and implement recruitment programs, establish new strategic partnerships for foreign universities and agencies for student recruitment and exchange. In conjunction with the Assistant Provost of Strategic Initiatives and International Recruitments, he also helped provide necessary inputs in efforts to raise the university's branding and profile in global marketplace. So we'll hear from David about what his experience of working in this market in Bangladesh, and we will then go to Nusrat to hear about the school perspective. I also have a short presentation to share what EducationUSA experienced throughout many years and working closely in local market. So we'll go one by one and feel free to ask questions. So over to David quickly.
Thank you so much, Iqbal, for the kind introduction. Hi, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. Again, my name is David. I'm the International Recruitment Specialist at UC Riverside. My current role, I pretty much oversee many of our recruitment efforts for both undergraduate and graduate level, as well as some of our non-degree credit units programs, international programs. So I'm very happy to be here today to share a little bit about our recruitment efforts in the region. Obviously, we are no expert as well. This is also a learning opportunity for me, as we are fairly new to the market. But I'm very happy to share some of the insights we have gathered so far from our perspective for this market. So to start, I just want to give a little bit of background on our current situation at UC Riverside. So right now we have about 26,000 students at our campus. with 3,000 students coming from over 87 countries, Bangladesh being one of the 87 countries. We have 48 students from Bangladesh right now studying at UC Riverside, and out of the 48, 40 students are in the College of Engineering. So this is probably not a surprise to many of you. Engineering and sciences is the most popular, the top program for students in Asia, specifically in South Asia and Bangladesh. And this year we have 20 applications coming from Bangladesh for the upcoming fall intake. And this morning I just checked, out of the 20 applications, 3 applicants that was given an admission offer has accepted and submitted the intent to register for this fall. So we're quite positive, optimistic about the future recruitment market for Bangladesh for undergraduate students and programs. So what we have learned, so we have gathered feedbacks and we've done surveys with our alumni, our current students, as well as from events and participation in events and fairs online. What we gather about the Bangladesh market is that the students from this market, from this country, are very, very competitive and very, very hardworking. They're very driven to be successful in their field, particularly in engineering and science. The 3 students that we have that have accepted our offers are all of them are in computer science and computer engineering. So being a research university or a engineering and science focused university definitely has a huge advantage in this market. The students and parents are very cost conscious. There's a growing number of middle upper class in the country, but the parents are still looking for affordability to attend. As many of the students and parents know, we know as well, US higher education is one of the most costly luxury in the world right now. So being able to offer some kind of incentive is very important to attract students in this market. And also student support, being able to offer student support specifically for this region, students from this background is also crucial for students to feel like home, to be familiar with the environment, to be able to feel comfortable in studying in this our campus. Also, return on investment is very important. The time they spend, the money, the effort they invest in their higher education must have a high return on investment in terms of a job, right? In form of a job, a high paying job as well. And so career outlook is one of the things that we have gotten a lot of question about from this particular market, from students and parents. With career opportunities and employment opportunities, internship opportunities. Some of these are what we always showcase through our marketing and communication materials. So some of the key points that we focus on when we target students from Bangladesh, we focus on our strength, right? Our strength is in research for UC Riverside. We are a research institution. We are collaborating with scientists and faculties around the world for research. Last year, the Vice Chancellor of Jagannath University, one of the top university, most well-known university in Bangladesh, visited our campus and had a very positive conversation with our campus leadership on potential collaborations between 2 institutions. This collaboration extends from research opportunities, research centers, to student exchange, to master program preparation, as well as to a dual degree or shared degree programs. These are some of the opportunities that we have came to learn about in the past year. This is also some of the opportunities potentially that you can explore as well in this market. Second is that student support. We highlight this immensely in our materials and in our recruitment effort. Having a Bangladesh student organization, student association, Muslim student organization, on-campus mosque, a prayer room, This all sounds surprising to students and parents that we engage with, but all of this is to make sure that we can provide a setting, a campus that they're able to be comfortable to studying in, and to have the cultural backup, the support that they may need when they study abroad, far away from home. Our international student and scholar team organizes many events, social activities, religious activities with the students from South Asia region, and as well as making sure the students are aware of all the support that we offer, all the programs, academic support, as well as social support, cabinet safety initiatives that we offer, to make sure the students and the parents have a peace of mind when they apply to a US university. So career readiness is the other factor that we highlight. Highlighting the career fairs, the alumni ambassadors. We have a few Bangladeshi alumni that are currently working with us. We integrated our alumni into our recruitment efforts, inviting them into our webinars, into our fairs, incorporating their experience, setting up mentorship programs for our students, our first-year students, to guide them, right, to a path where they will have a support available whenever they need. On-campus employment, sometimes the students are in need of additional experiences or financial support. So having on-campus employment opportunities for F1 students, especially for these students from Bangladesh, is very important for them to know. And having developed programs for international students for career readiness and career development is something we always broadcast to our prospective cohorts. So overall, with some of these key points, our recruitment efforts always starts with Education USA. We, wherever we go, all the countries that we initially engage with, we always look for support and guidance from Education USA. The reacts from each region are always able to refer us great contacts as a starting point for us to engage with the high schools and counselors in the region. The silver lining of the pandemic allow us to have different channels, different venues for recruitment. We have engaged extensively with online platforms, online fairs, particularly like KIC, online fair, webinars, webby fairs, online platforms like Unifrog, Seattle, where we can set up a profile where students and parents can browse our profile and get in contact with our admission officers or representative. It's very important. It's also a new trend, or the current trend where information is shared very rapidly. The students are able to get in reach with us immediately. And we have been finding these online fairs and webinars fairly effective, and we have been able to generate a lot of really, really good leads from these online events. Collaborating with surrounding universities in our area, we have done many information sessions with our Southern California university cohorts, where we present together with our colleagues from the area for a particular country, working with Education USA or other organizations and agencies. Strengths in number, it will always attract more students and parents to attend these events, and from these events we always share leads, and the yield from the leads are also been great. One other thing we've been learning from the past year is that community college is a great avenue for our recruitment effort. Like I said earlier, many of the students and parents are very cost conscious. They're looking at affordability and cost for US education. So a community college is a fantastic gateway, or a pathway, special pathway for these students are only able to afford a full 4-year college tuition of a US college. So with accreditation agreements with our community colleges in California, transfer agreements, transfer pathway programs, we're also able to recruit a few students from Bangladesh region, right? By helping our community college colleagues in recruitment events, supporting them in their recruitment fairs, recruitment webinars, it's also in a way to funnel students into our programs, as we have a long-term partnership with our community colleges in California. And finally, we organize, annual consular flying tours. These are fully paid or fully funded by us, except the airfare. We invite counselors onto our campus to experience our campus as a student, to explore our classrooms, our laboratories, our gym, to be here, just to stay here for a couple of days to experience what it's like to be a student. Because not all of the students from Bangladesh are able to travel to the US and to experience our campus, right? So we try to invite as many school officials, high school officials, counselors onto our campus for them to bring back this experience back to their home, back to their high school, to pass on this experience to their students. So, our recruitment efforts are ongoing in Bangladesh, and it's also ever so evolving. It is always a learning opportunity for us. We're also looking for new ways for recruitment. So far, these are the things that we have been doing, and it's been fairly successful. Like I said, we have been increasing our enrollment from Bangladesh in the past couple of years, especially with online exposure and in this market. And we're very positive overall, and we're looking forward to attend more events organized by EducationUSA for South Asia, Bangladesh, as well as potentially visiting in person in the future as well. So with this, I'll pass on to Nusrat for a high school perspective on international recruitment.
Wonderful. So before, we turn to Nusrat for the high school perspective, I'm to take this opportunity to share some of, EducationUSA's experience over the years. So let me share a quick presentation with all of you that I've prepared for today. Since we are not joined by one of our panel members. So this is, I thought this is an opportunity for me to also kind of elaborate what my colleague Khadija and also Nusrat will cover some of these things. So Bangladesh is a highly densely populated country. You all may know. One of the things in many forums we hear that Bangladesh has a population dividend. That means the young population is the biggest. Only if you consider 15 to 20 years of age population, that's 20%. So then next around 20% will be people from 25 to around below 40. So the youth population and the working population is very high. There is a positive GDP growth of 7.5% every year. And Bangladesh, as an education, has a long tradition of English education, meaning that from grade 1, students start learning English. They have the shyness or less lack of confidence or some sort of communication problem because of not practicing all 4 English skills like reading, writing, speaking, and listening. But they do learn English from the very early age. Bangladesh has a booming education sector, a rising middle class, and combined with all of this, Bangladesh is currently experiencing high demand in higher education, domestically and for study abroad. So Bangladeshi education system, like, if you think of it, is very complex, it's very large. The sheer number of students make this very complex because there are 40 million students. Like at the government schools, there are 40 million students. So these are all managed by two ministries. The first one is Ministry of Primary and Mass Education. Bangladesh has the world's largest primary education system because this is a very centralized system. It covers the pre-primary grade 1 to 5, and then non-formal education. It has over 65,000 government primary schools, over 715,000 teachers, and the number of children in primary school is 25 million. And then there is another ministry, which is called the Ministry of Education. It oversees the secondary education, that means 6 to 12 grade students, and also technical, vocational, tertiary, like university education, and also religious education. So the Ministry of Education implements its through the Director of Secondary and Higher Education, implements different university programs, or higher tertiary level education. Just to put you in perspective, there are around 1.4 million students who each year, around on an average, each year appear in the higher secondary leaving examination, which is called the HSC examination. This year, the HSC examination will take place in August. So this usually happens in early April, but this year last year it got delayed due to COVID, the year before also. So because of this change in the total calendar year, this year it has been pushed to August. So it will affect some of Bangladeshi students who are in national curriculum but trying to go to the US or other countries, because they will have to kind of delay their start in fall in some way. So what we have been advising our students to contact individual universities to kind of let them know what is the situation. Currently, 3.2 million students are enrolled in tertiary level education. And that means that Bangladeshi universities, and there is a national university system under which there are a lot of colleges, there are actually thousands of colleges under national university curriculum where students study tertiary level, get tertiary level education. So on Bangladeshi secondary education, just to literally elaborate a little, there are under national curriculum, the Bangla curriculum or national curriculum, there are a version system as well, which is called the English version, but the national curriculum. So same, but in English. And then there is a madrasa curriculum, which is also under national curriculum. So these three kind of curriculums sync well with each other. And then, of course, there are international curriculum available in few English medium schools. It is called locally. That means that either GCSE or O-levels, A-levels, and international IB program and other curriculum are taught in those schools. And those schools are primarily in Dhaka or bigger cities. Bangladesh national curriculum is being reviewed again. It was reviewed in the recent past, but it is being reviewed because government of Bangladesh wants to take the advantage of human capitals. So human capital goal is to kind of focus on soft skills and prepare youth for employment in the private sector or global job market. So with that goal, Bangladesh curriculum is being kind of reviewed recently. It is kind of approved and now waiting for implementation. EducationUSA in Bangladesh, we have 7 advisors, including myself. There are 4 centers, EducationUSA centers, 2 in Dhaka, because Dhaka is really the capital and the biggest city. It serves a lot of students, and traffic in Dhaka, realistically, it's not possible from one part of Dhaka to travel to another part of Dhaka regularly. it takes time. So it makes sense to have 2 centers in Dhaka, and that's why we have a second center, which is called the EMK Center. Then there is a center in Chittagong, Chattogram, and there is a center in Khulna. EducationUSA also virtually engages with students in other places in Bangladesh, in Sylhet and Rajshahi. We have American spaces there. We travel, we do virtual sessions. So EducationUSA, is proud of few initiatives that I want to quickly highlight, but that's not all. We have many other engagements as well. We invite alumni and current students. Recently, we invited few students from four students from 4 different universities who are Muslim students association member to celebrate Ramadan. And they are our former advisees, but currently studying in the US, undergraduate and graduate level. They came in and shared their perspective from attending Muslim Student Association or celebrating Ramadan at PS campuses. So that is kind of things we really also want to highlight. Bangladesh Student Association engagement with a series of engagement with Bangladesh Student Association. There were about 16 engagement in last about a year. So it's pretty much every month we engage with one student association. And we invite current students from the campus to share what they do, what kind of help they can extend to incoming students, things like that. We host day fairs and virtual fairs, as many of you know and have joined. And we welcome you to become a panel member or give presentation on your school. And last but not the least, we do many in-person outreaches. So if there's any opportunity for us to collaborate with you and join you in some sort of outreach, we have done recently with the community college representative who came in Bangladesh and visited some schools. We joined them. We did little educational presentation, and also this gives a student a better sense of what the whole package is. By the way, EducationUSA service in Bangladesh is completely free. We do not charge anything to the students. Our model is like that. We follow the 5-step process without student having to pay us any particular fees. Even we do essay checking workshops and we check students' essay completely for free. EducationUSA has an objective to empower school counselors. In 2018, we sent 8 student sponsored through the embassy. We sponsored 8 school counselors to go on an IVF International Digital Leadership Program, which is a Department of State program. Currently, we are working with the school teachers and counselors to build their capacity through a kind of a training program facilitated by many experienced school counselors and also US universities like yourself. So if you have any particular interest to take a session on how to write recommendation letters or college search or school profile making, things like that, that will be wonderful. That is again a call. Reach out to us if you have an interest to collaborate in this effort. EducationUSA, we since we work very closely with the embassy, we have used local media quite well. We regularly publish on news and various contents, national dailies, for example, International Education Week, when there is a data and numbers, and Bangladesh has a very good number to showcase. We wrote something for the national daily. With the help of public diplomacy section of FEC, we've been able to put those in national dailies. National television channel, we have recently joined in a virtual discussion on higher education in national television channel, radio, and social media. Our social media is very active. Apart from the US Embassy page, the EducationUSA Bangladesh page has a lot of followers, over 1.3 million followers. But I want to quickly highlight some of the numbers. I'm not going to in details, but just to highlight that, like, starting from, if you see the table on the right side, from the top, from the bottom in 2011 and 12 to like the more recent data, our numbers have actually tripled in last decade. And Bangladesh now ranks 14 in the world. Last year it was 17th in the world as a sending country to US. Bangladesh came into the list of 2019 for the first time. And like we have seen a positive trend for many years. Like the graph next will show you what is the kind of upward trend we have been seeing in the last 10, 15 years. And then I want to also quickly share that primarily it's a graduate market. So our objective for today is to how to kind of increase the undergraduate numbers. You can see that 67% of Bangladeshi students are in the graduate level, studying leaders at the graduate level. And then 80% of Bangladeshi students are currently in these campuses are studying STEM fields. So you know what is the current scenario. We want to have more students pursue other topics and subjects and field of study. We have been engaging with students to promote liberal arts education and other different social sciences and disciplines. But that is where we need help from nusrat, our school counselors, so that students diversify. And then, of course, US universities, you can come up with ideas how you can promote other field of study as well. So I want to end by sharing some quick factors. Higher education in Bangladesh, there are nearly 150 universities. There are big difference between public and private, because private universities are costly, but public universities are literally free of cost. Students do not have to pay literally much. So going to a public university is convenient. Even students from rich family background also try to go to public university because of prestige. But there are very good private universities as well, where tuition fees might be high. They offer some scholarships for deserving candidates. But the foreign degree is still is a significant career asset, and it actually helps the vertical growth for the skilled people, because if there is an assistant professor or a lecturer, for example, of a university, there is a foreign degree, it significantly helps them. We have this is not a concrete number. We have asked some students what will be the price range or yearly cost. So many have said around 12,000 to 15,000, but that is not a concrete. It varies from student to student. But on average, students look at if we convert this to Bangladeshi Dhaka, it's 100,000. It's 1 million. Sorry. So it's 1 million Bangladeshi Dhaka. So that is the kind of a cost students look at for a yearly, a student who go to a private university in Bangladesh and pay high tuition fee in a private university, they can easily use that to study in the US. So that is a kind of price comparison students oftentimes they make. And with this price range, they go to other countries as well. Competing countries, as my colleague also said in her opening remarks, that in Malaysia, China, Australia, Canada, UK, those are aggressively putting this in Bangladesh market for undergraduate students and doing it through fairs and visits. So we have seen that in-person visit by US university reps are very effective. And then my last slide, I want to just highlight that for US admissions, the challenge is admission cycles or like an ambiguity of specific deadlines and application requirement is very challenging for many students. So like they kind of sometimes take an easy path rather than like doing all this difficult route. And then lack of school system challenge as well. So I'll stop here and turn it over to Nusrat to expand on that. We were working closely for Nusrat's presentation as well. And like she also gave me some ideas what we can talk about. So Nusrat, why don't you take it forward?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nusrat. I worked at the Aga Khan School, Dhaka for the last 4 years. And before that, I was in an international school, which was an IB World School. I worked there for around 9 years. So, and myself, I'm coming from a Bengali medium school. I graduated from the national universities here, and I'm a certified UCLA college counselor. So, myself, when I tell you my background as a Bengali medium school, so I actually connect with students here, who are struggling with the application. So I think one of the reasons I'm here, I would like to hear our young generation, and mostly I can tell you like our students are first generation going abroad. So, the connections that I can make, I feel it's amazing, it's rewarding. And then, talking to the parents, it's like, I understand their worries and what they're really thinking, how the students will go through. So that's the kind of work I do. And I'm like showing you a slide of mine right now so that I don't forget what I want to say. I think a lot of things Sohail Bhai has covered, so I will not put a stress on those factors anymore. And as Sohail Bhai has given a very good introduction of our background, we are a new country, but the application rate is growing very fast, and the economy is, we're really hoping it would be flourishing very soon, as it's a declaration coming up. We will be graduating from the least developed countries in 2026. And I would say our priorities for the parents is always education. So for higher education market, I can see there's a big growth for our country, for our students. And we do have these systems. It's mainly the HSC, the higher secondary school certificate, the A-levels, IB diploma. We have currently 4 schools who are running the IB diploma. So this is not the major population where you will get IB students, but these 4 schools who are running IB diploma, they're like 90-95% students are applying abroad. And the madrasa system, they still need to get a lot of information, but they're coming on track. So hopefully in next 5 to 10 years, we can see them going to the US universities too, in a large amount. And the high school diploma. The high school diploma for a couple of schools, they do not go for a external exam. They have their own high school diploma accredited by NIAS or CIS. So they are also coming to they're also sending application for universities. And now, where do actually the Bangladeshi students go for higher education advice? As you were going through the webinar, we don't have a lot of dedicated high school counselors. We do have around 10 college counselors who are dedicated and placed by a school with a designation of college counselor. But other than that, these are the teachers, the principals, subject teachers. They actually help the students for their application. But the good thing I would say, we as a high school counselor, we do have a very strong network. It's called Bangladeshi College Counselor Network. So whenever we get to have a visit, we share it among our platform. We do have a social media, which is only for the Bangladeshi College Counselor. So we share universities are coming, this scholarship is available. We do have our meetup. So we do share actually what is going in our school. So we get to know like how we can work collaboratively together and help each other and understand. I like last night we had a get together. So I get to know how the application has been shifted. And the good thing is that we get a good shift to the US this year. It's like a 30% increased. And I will like discussing, why. And I would say it's interesting to know that the parents, the community now, they have the faith on the current administration. It's like one of the reasons. And they feel more safe, the secure, like they're now sending their, at least taking initiate, keeping it the first priority, sending them to the US universities. And then Education US, they go through like they cover a wide range of students in different curriculum universities. So one of the fairs that we had back in 2019, right? So where we had a lot of the US universities, I think that was the last fair that we had as a college counselor to go to and to meet up. So we really looking forward to have all these tours for us so that, we get to know them through a platform. So these are the 4 places, and last but not the least, agencies. We do not have a lot of trusted agencies in Bangladesh, so we are really worried. And we are like, whenever a new agency comes, I do get to meet them. I like to know actually how they're working. So if they are a good trusted agency, I don't hesitate. But the thing is that I don't get good report. So a lot of the students, they might be misguided, but they're not going to the best fit universities. They might not be going to the best fit major. So it's like they rely on what the agencies are telling. So that's something we are worried of. And the struggle that the Bangladeshi students, they do have a recommendation letter. So most of the teachers here, they do not get the right training, actually how to write a recommendation letter for the US application. So students, they struggle. Most of the students here, they don't have a guidance counselor. And before they apply, they really think like, will I be able to cover the application fee? So, they sometimes get themselves limited to 5 universities, 6 universities. And those emails, if they are, registered with a college board or other platform, if they get these automated emails from universities, hey, we know this is your SAT scores, but somehow we got to know you. So we are going to give you an application fee waiver. So that works really amazing. So in my school, I have a few students there coming and say, hey, Miss, I got this fee waiver, so I'm gonna apply there. I said, okay, fine. Usually we do have a limit. We do encourage them not to apply more than 12 universities. So when they get this application fee waiver, they tell us like why they would like to apply. So in that cases, the list can go a little bit extended. And Common App fee waiver we do have, but it varies. Like if they really have this need, then we approve the Common App fee waiver. But most of the students, they need it, we do waive the fee, but it's still not known to all the students. They struggle with the school profile. I would say you would get to see like not all the schools, they actually have the correct statistics, to show you. And there's a lot of good schools we have. At least if they can put them in a good one summary, like 2 to 3 pages, I think it would make your life much easier. So, and the students' life, because when they're applying to the application, like they see like, oh, I need a school profile. So, they ask the school authority, like, and it takes a lot of time. So sometimes they really give up. And college search, there's like 3,000, 4,000 universities in the US. So they really get confused. So they don't know actually how to start the application, where they should be applying, what major. are these measures available? So in general, the students are struggling with this. Financial aid, it's a big factor for us even in my school. I would say like 25 to 30% students, they're really looking for a good financial aid. And the education loan in Bangladesh is very, very complicated. So students, they do not opt. I would say 0% students, they go for an education loan. So 2023, 2020 to 2023 application highlights from counselor's desk, like on an average 30% increase in application. There's like a scholarship nomination, which is getting popular. So they get to know, for example, I can tell you few universities we work with, University of Virginia, they have a Jefferson Scholarship, University of Rochester, they also have this nomination process. So when we get to hear from the universities, like, they have this full funded nomination, so we can at least nominate them, and students, they would like to take the chance, though it's a slim chance, but when we get to know, there is a kind of an opportunity where they can get a good financial aid, or they can get this nomination and we can help them. So students, they really like to take the opportunity. So this is getting really popular among our students. And students are now leaning towards liberal arts. So this year, a lot of the students, they have a shortlisted liberal arts universities on their list, because many of them, they really like to, go for subjects like, music, performing arts, visual art, even sports. So, this is a minor and major thing. And the parents, as you have listened to that how, we're very obsessed with the STEM, because one of the reasons is this OPT, or they can stay back. This is one of the reasons. So, parents are on a side of STEM, students too, but they also like to explore. So this is slowly getting popular. I won't say it's very popular, but I could see the last 2 years, it's getting popular. And it's one of the reasons that we actually have to untap these to the students and promote them. And it works very well. When they graduate, it works very well. And a scholarship clarification. So most of the time when they're applying, it's obvious they do not get to see, like, you're gonna get, it's definitely uncertain and unpredictable, and it's a holistic application process. But students, they like to see, like, okay, so this is the scholarship available, like a clear clarification between the international students, international student and the local. So sometimes they get confused, because we do have different scholarships. So, they struggle to find the right scholarship for them. An application package, a lot of the universities in different parts of the world, they come up with a package, like, this is the entire package for you, 4 years, and you have to pay all this. So, the parents, they can figure out the cost, and if it's affordable, they would like to go there. Like, okay, fine, this is affordable. I can cover it within the 4 years. So that's the kind of assurance, that's the kind of financial letters, like financial aid letters, they're really looking forward to. And parents need more information on US applications. So when they see this application process is lengthy, expensive, so these things, we do have challenges. So I give my priority when I'm covering the US application. And I know Education USA, they're doing the same thing. So we're on the same page, but these are the struggle. These are like from our desk to you. Okay, so I'm just giving you a statistic of my school, the Aga Khan School, Dhaka. This year I have 83 seniors, and we run 2 curriculums simultaneously. It's an IB and A level. So our IB students are more into applying abroad. So you can see that 35 of them have applied abroad and 19 of them applied in the US. And from the Cambridge curriculum, 28 students applied abroad out of 44 and 13 applied in the US. So I would say it's a good number in terms of application from our school. It's definitely an increased number from last year. And priority for choosing major. It's like, yeah, STEM, because there's a lot of opportunities they get to find in the US. Like as David was showing, out of 40 of them have applied for STEM and engineering. Like, I can really connect it. One of the reasons is job opportunities, this optional practical training. And I would also say that, our students are strong. We do have pre-calculus from grades 8 onwards, and from grade 9, we do actually have 2 maths. Like in every curriculum, we do have a general maths, additional maths, or you can say higher math, math SL, math HL. So students it's their first priority. It's like a cultural thing that, we give a lot of priority on practicing math. So they do not want to give up entirely. So when they are going to the university, they still like to practice the subjects they actually have been doing for the entire life. Like math is a part of our curriculum from pre-K to grade 12. And unable to convince parents for arts, performing arts. So yeah, like, choosing a major, going for a major in performing arts, a lot of the students, they do it, but because it's not self-financed or we don't get an education loan, we are heavily relying on sponsorship from the parent side. And again, yeah, job is more important for us, like, because a lot of the parents actually have to mortgage their homes, and for, just give me a second. Yeah. All right, sorry. So I'll be finishing it very quickly. We have a time constraint. And sacrificing the passion to be on a competitive job market. And they also look into the term like co-op, internship, placement. These terms they attract the students largely. So if they see these terms, they would definitely put this university on their list. I'm going through my last slide, very important one. Like the scope for us, for the US university would be, promote the university and also the education system, like how flexible the US curriculum is, keeping more visits in the annual calendar of yours. And we really like, the group tours. So if you can tie up with few of your other colleagues, and then we get a lot of students coming and join to all those workshops. And the BCCN network is a strong network, and Bangladesh, we do have 10 mainstream schools connected together. So we will give you all the information and email address through the Education US. And of course, the Education USA Fair. So if they're organizing it, I would say tie up yourself and visit us. And like if you're coming to India or Bangkok, we're 3-4 hours flight away. So I would say that would be a good time and a good opportunity for you and for us. And then lastly, it's an interesting thing, like this year we do have some MOU with a few universities in Canada. So I just like sharing you the factors shortly. Like they have given us each year, they have given us a criteria. So if the students can meet up the criteria, they're gonna waive some tuition fees and give them some financial aid. So they give us a criteria for the Aga Khan School worldwide. So that, and we have actually signed up to MOUs, and it worked great with the parents. for us and for the university. So yeah, that's it from me. I thank you with all my, from my bottom of my heart to listen to me and to be in this platform. So that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Ms. Shamin, could you please expand on BCCN network, what it is and how to get in touch with them?
BCCN network is Bangladeshi College Counselor Network. So I would say, Mr. Hasib, if you have your email address, and we do have a registration list here, so we will get back to you. When we get the email address, I'm gonna send you the BCCN link. So I think all of us who registered will get the BCCN link, end of the day.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Nusrat Appa. Do we have other questions? Feel free, because we'll wrap up shortly. But if you have more questions, send it our way. We'll be more than happy to post this. I just want to quickly share that we will organize some kind of open day where you can also get to know our other counselors very soon around this summer. So we'll reach out to US universities to kind of have Zoom call with breakout rooms with our other advisors and centers so that you can know context of our Chittagong advisor and advising situation and Khulna, our other centers. So you can there is a clear communication between the advisors and you. So towards that goal, we'll do that. We are working on a fair for fall. We'll announce that, and I'm sure we'll get help from our React. So if there is no other question, then thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to know, is there a resource or a website, anything that we can use as a U.S. university to find the syllabus for the HEC curriculums?
Definitely, HSC curriculum, there are syllabus, detailed syllabus. So we can share that with you. Thank you. I'll take a note of that and I'll reach out to you.
Okay, thank you. I'll put my email in the chat.
Hi, Sohel. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm from International American University, and we do offer scholarship to the Bangladeshi students, actually starting this year. So I was wondering if there is a way we can work more closely and maybe reach out to more quality students. Actually, we tried to do the scholarship project with the Education Ministry, but it seems, that there is a delay on the correspondence and getting right kind of candidate. So as your colleagues were suggesting, if you guys can help us to nominate the right students for the scholarship project, we are happy to work closely with you guys.
Yeah, of course. My quick response will be to share those information so that we can share with Education USA advisees and our center members and our students. Also, I'm sure Nusrat Appa in her last slide, she shared what her school is doing with other universities across different regions. So if you share with BCCN network or a school counselor or an individual counselors and schools, I think that is a way to go. If you go to the ministry, because as you see that the ministry is dealing with thousands and millions of students, and this is a very complex system. So coming from the ministry and and I'm sure number will not be many. So it's recommended that you reach out to few schools and Education USA first, and then go from there. I think that will be more effective in terms of targeting the correct level of students. And if you want to reach out to schools outside of Dhaka, then of course Education USA can also help you with school list and contact people number. You can reach out to them directly. So I think that is the way can move
So
forward.
how do we get in touch with the actual contact person on the Education USA, or maybe have a sit down and discuss the possibilities?
I'm giving the Education USA email address in the chat box. Thank you. Do you have other questions? I want to thank everyone on behalf of EducationUSA Bangladesh and our entire team, and thank also our regional EducationUSA advising coordinator, React Luis, for supporting, and Sanamas for also helping organizing this session. We will have a graduate focus session next month where we want to also discuss the university system with more in-depth, Bangladesh university system, tertiary education in depth. And as there is a lot of things we should actually share in terms of collaboration and university to university collaboration. And David shared a very good point of how research collaboration helps to expand the market and awareness. So that is something there which is really interesting to know from David. David, any last words from you before we wrap up?
Not much. I just want to thank everybody for their time and this great opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the great information as well.
Okay. Nusrat, any last words? Anyone if there's no other questions and comments, then thank you so much, and have a great week, and thanks for joining from so late. We really appreciate. Thank you so much.
I just pasted the Google site of the BCCN, so if you can just click, you get all the information. And thank you so much once again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.